Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of the Golden Ticket Show. We're back today with some top bets for basketball. We're going to take a look into some of the college basketball action tonight, as well as we're going to do a quick go over of our NFL wildcard weekend picks and kind of give you guys an update of what we're going to do for that for the weekend. My name's Dan from Frequency's Sake. I'm really excited for today. I think today's going to be a great day for basketball. I think it's going to be a great day to get prepared for football. I know everyone's excited for the games this weekend. But the first thing we'll go over, if you did not check our first play out on Twitter, we posted about 20 minutes ago. We are taking Milwaukee money line versus Cleveland State at 3 p.m. early tip-off here. Now, I love this game. I like this play. It's a lot of value. The big thing I'm looking at on this one, and I'll pull up here the money numbers. So as you can see, the spread is fairly like the money's kind of back and forth. But the big thing I'm looking at is this right here. Only 43% of the people who are betting money line think it's going to hit, and 98% of the money is there. We can even look at projections for this game. As you can see, like this model might be expected to get closer, but a lot of money, a lot of sharp bets have been on Milwaukee here. So, and I think the way Milwaukee's been playing is honestly a lot better than Cleveland State. I mean, Cleveland State, they had a good win over Northern Kentucky, but Milwaukee took care of Detroit, who's been good. They took care of Wright State. They struggled. They had a 95-100 game against Oakland. They took out Robert Morris. They took out Chattanooga. I think they're more equipped to play this team, especially given a lot of these games that Milwaukee has won. Cleveland State has won, but in a very tough, like closer game. Now, away this season, and the big thing here is also away this season, Cleveland State is 2-6 on the road versus a team that's 6-2 at home. And their only two wins was IUPUI, a team that's still kind of struggling, and Bradley, who team is just not the best this year. Versus if you look, they only lost 2 games mid-season. Outside of that, they beat Siena, they beat Robert Morris, Chattanooga, and Wright State all at home. So I love this play here. We're going to go ahead and back Milwaukee for an early cash. So let's get into the plays that I love. My 2 favorite plays that I've already put together for today, and we're going to break down a little bit more of them later. The first one is going to be Domantas Sabonis over. Let me take rid of that so we can actually see everything. Domantas Sabonis over 12.5 rebounds tonight versus Philly. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple reasons why I like this line here. So one, obviously, if you look in his last 10 games, he's gotten 10 or more. So if you want to take the 10 and drop it down with something else, by all means, go for it. He's averaging about 14 rebounds per game over the last 10. Over his last 5, he's averaging 13.6. But the big thing here is these 3 games where he had 15 or more rebounds, and I'll tell you why they're big. Toronto does not give up a lot of rebounds to players. Neither does the – excuse me, I'm trying to pull up this information for you guys. Orlando doesn't give up a lot of rebounds per game either. But the big thing I'm really looking at here is mainly that is if you look at defense per position, like let's look at defense to centers per position here. So as you can see, the teams that give up some of the least, you have teams that give up towards centers that he's gotten this line against. Let's see, there was Memphis, Charlotte, Orlando, Toronto. two teams that are towards the bottom end of the spectrum here with Charlotte and Memphis. As you see, Toronto is kind of an iffy. It depends on Pirtle. And Orlando is right around there. They don't give up a lot of rebounds. Centers have kind of been a focal point. But the big thing I'm looking at with this game is the fact that Joel Embiid is not playing tonight. Now, as you can see here on the injury screen, Herter was just listed as out, but Embiid's listed as out. Covington and Kenny Lofton are all listed as out for one reason or another. They're all out, and that means Paul Reed is starting. So I'm going to go over with you guys the last 3 games that Paul Reed has started, what the numbers were for the defender or the opposing player he was defending. So let's look at the rebound numbers for Atlanta in their last game. You had 16 rebounds from Jalen Johnson, 10 from Sadiq Bey, 11 from Okongwu. Against Utah, you had Markkanen get 13 boards. Fontecchio gets 7. Against the Knicks, Hart had 15, and that was a game that Embiid started. We're looking at the ones Paul Reed started. When he started against Chicago, Drummond had 23 rebounds. When he started against Houston, Tari Eason off the bench had a double-double. Paul Reed, as an undersized center, is not playing the best. Sabonis is projected about 14 rebounds on some sites. Some sites have him at 13. I'm actually going to check Dimers right now because Dimers usually has a fairly solid one. Not my favorite, but even like if we can get a third one that says the exact same thing, I'll even take that. They have Sabonis at 13. They have him right on the money. They have him at a near triple-double. I like those odds too. We're locking that one in. As you can see, they haven't given up a lot. You can see it right here. They give up only the 7th most, but that's with Embiid in. Without Embiid out, they cannot rebound. They have struggled to rebound this year with Embiid not playing. I will take Sabonis every day in this situation, especially games where he's kind of just hit this line again in games that they've blown out. I don't think we've seen him have 10 rebounds in 3 blowout games each. We haven't really seen his true, I guess we haven't seen him playing a lot of minutes. So he had 38 against Detroit, but that was off, triple-double watch, dominating. These 2 games, he didn't play as much. I think this is a game that they're going to keep it close enough that he's going to need to playing a lot of minutes. They're going to need him to crash. You could take him for the 12.5. If you don't like the 12.5, we also have a play. If you take him for 10 and Fox for 20 points, you're looking at about a minus 180 odds, something that might not be the best, but it'll give you an easy hit. So that's our first play. Our second play we've already locked in is going to be on the Pistons. Yet again, we have been rocking with Pistons bets a lot. This time we are fading the Pistons. We have Jaden Ivey over or under 2.5 rebounds. Now the odds have moved on this. I caught this at 150. It's at 188. But there's a big reason why I like this one. So first, let's look at the reason why through Houston. So Houston, if you can see over here, they only give up 11 threes per game. They have the 9th best three-point defense in the NBA, according to shots made. I think shots percentage, they're actually even better. They give up, if you could see it right down here, 33% from 3 this year against a team that's shooting 28% from 3 on the year. So I think this is a game they're going to lock up that defense really, 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 really easily. Not to mention, they only give up three threes a game to shooting guards, 2 games to point guards, the 2 positions that Ivy's going to kind of be flowing in and out of. He's going to see a lot of Van Vliet, I think, because they're not worried about Killian Hayes. With that being said, I think it's going to be even harder for him to shoot. And as you can see, he's only hit this in 3 of his last 10 games. This season, he's only went over this line 4 times. The slide is up because of the inflation of the fact that Cade Cunningham will not be in the lineup tonight. But if you look at one stat here, the 2 games Cade Cunningham has already missed this year, he has missed this line 2 times. His last 10 games, he's went under this line in 6 of 10. Last 5, 4 of 5. The 20 times he's done it, he has only went over this line 5 times. Last year in the games, he went under this line in every game but 11. This line is inflated because of the amount of threes he's been shooting lately. As you can see, these last 2 games here, he shot 9 attempts and 10 attempts against defenses that are not the best, and he struggled in both of them, even though he did hit 2. I think this is a harder matchup for him. I'm taking that one with East. Give me the under 2.5. And with that being said, let's go ahead and do a quick breakdown of some of the best college plays that I kind of see right now based on the money and some of the insights here. So, and then we'll go to break. We'll come back and we'll lock in our best NBA plays of tonight. So, firstly, let's look at this right here on the spread. We have a lot of movement for some of these. If you can see here, in this Minnesota-Indiana game, a lot of the money and a lot of projections are on Minnesota to win. I think a lot of people are backing the Hoosiers here in a situation that, some people are backing Minnesota, but the projection numbers have this at a 2 instead of a 4.5 where it's at. But most of the money is here, so that is one to watch. The other one we're, really kind of watching that I'm kind of interested really in is this game right here, DePaul Villanova. A lot of the bets are fading Villanova because they have been iffy, but a lot of money is on Nova here. I think that's something. Watch this line as it gets a little bit closer. Once it hits about 8, if this line is anything lower than 18, I would say, stay away from it because that means there's some kind of reverse regression. They're wanting you to bet that. We already talked about this Cleveland game. As we look at some of these games with the most money on it, we see 53% of the bets are on the over in DePaul, Villanova, but 99% of the money. Now, we're going to actually break that one down, and then we're going to head to break, but come back with some more NBA plays. Let's look at why that is. So let's look head-to-head. I don't think these teams have played head-to-head. But if you look right here, in their last 5 games, DePaul has went under their line in 4, but they've went over this 136 mark. As you can see, they do not have the best offense, and they're going against a team that has a very more slow-paced lockdown defense, and not really. But the big one is the fact that this defense is terrible. They're in the bottom 10% of college basketball versus an offense that's not been the best, but it's a good opportunity for them to get back. As you can see here, these insights kind of lean towards the under, and I think both teams are. But I do like the over here. I'm going to watch that line a little bit before we make a decision on that. But that is pretty much all we have right now for college ball. We might have a little bit more later, but we will get those to you guys a little bit later on. We're going to focus the stream on basketball and some quick wildcard weekend insight before tomorrow's best bets. So stick tuned after the break. We're going to go down each NBA game, break them down one by one, and the best bet that we take from each one.
My name's Ryan Allison. I've spent over a decade immersed in the art of tattooing. Sharply honing my skills has materialized into a diverse and prestigious body of work. Each tattoo reflects my relentless pursuit of excellence, and every client I work with is a living embodiment of that unwavering commitment. I will gladly and wholeheartedly embrace your distinct vision.
Durham Remodeling has been serving the Quad Cities area since 1973, and with over 50 years of excellence on their track record, you'll see why it's so easy to trust their experts when it comes to all of your home improvement projects. This family-owned business has you covered on all your needs. Protect your home or building from the elements today and get great roof repair services. Need new windows? No problem. Durham Remodeling can upgrade your windows and doors. Whether you want to upgrade the little details in your home or office, or want to tear a room down and start fresh, the expert contractors at Durham Remodeling have your back. Even the smallest changes can completely transform your space. Ready to start entertaining your friends for backyard barbecues? Durham Remodeling will help you plan, design, and build your deck and patio for the perfect outdoor space. Durham Remodeling's work is 100% guaranteed, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best service around. Call 309-786-6715 today for your free estimate for all your roofing, siding, flooring, windows, and painting needs. That's Durham Remodeling, 309-786-6715.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's go ahead and we're going to break down this slate tonight. I'm excited for it. I think we're in for a great night of basketball. So let's get into it here. We're going to pull up our page. So the first game I'm looking at here is going to be Indy versus Atlanta. Now, obviously, the big thing to watch out for in this game is there is no Halliburton. And a big fact I want to point out in this game is let's look at they've only played 4 games this year without Halliburton. And in those 4 games, let me see if I can find a way to add that up on here. So the big thing I'm looking at here is without Halliburton this season, they are not scoring well, and they didn't score well against a terrible defense. They only scored 112. So that is something to look out for in this game. It just doesn't feel like they have a flow to their game. Like they're missing a focal point, obviously, but it just doesn't feel like there's anything there on this offense. So with that being said, I think the over-under is kind of a stay-away territory, at least for me. I think I think the over-under, I'm staying away from this one. I don't see anything really that stands out to me in this game. As you can see, look, they missed this mark by a mile. It was 251.5. They finished at 216. They had an overtime game that put them over, but other than that, they've kind of been back and forth on this line. But I don't see any. I don't see really anything that makes me think that this game is going to be. I don't see anything that makes me think over here. I think a lot of people are kind of the big thing. I think a lot of people are fading this team, but a lot of money is on this over. We got 83% of the money on the total here, but most of the sharp action and the top action is going on the under. So I think that's one that we're going to kind of watch the line as the money comes in, and about 20 minutes before we'd really make a bet on that one. But I don't like the over here. In terms of the money line, I don't really trust either team because Atlanta has been kind of iffy in their last couple of games, including a loss to the Pacers. At home, this season, they've only won 6 games versus a team that's played a lot better on the road than the Hawks have played at home. But they have won their last 2 games against top playoff teams, so I think that's something to look at. This might be one you could take like Atlanta to win and like DeJounte Murray 15 points or something like that. But as you can even see here, they're even showing most of the money is on this over. Most of the bets are on Indy to cover, but a lot of the money is on Atlanta. I do kind of like that one. I don't see anything that really projects it anything other than it's got, this spread. It says that maybe the Pacers are about 3.5 when they should be a lot lower. It's got the money, the total pretty solidly, but it does have Indy at a lot lower value and Atlanta at a lot. It's got Atlanta at a lot higher value than it should be, and I think that's because of the injury. But I think, we're going to look at the spread. That's going to be one we're going to look at later. So I think the best play you could take main bet wise is I would take Atlanta spread. Now, player props are another story. There is some player props I'm really looking at. The big one here, if I can find it, is we're gonna look at the points for DeJounte Murray. Now, his line is a little higher than I personally like at 22.5. But let's look at his last 10 games, and let's even move this line down to 20. I'm going to base it off the 20. If you see, he's went 17 or higher in his last 10 head-to-head against this team this year. He's had 28 and 30. I think this is a good matchup for him. Bruce Brown is going to be in, but again, most of this focus is going to be on Trae Young. They do give up about 27 points a game to shooting guards, which is kind of mid for this team. I think the other one you could look at is Jalen Johnson's points is a solid one. Let's check his point line real quick. What's it at? You can get him you can even take him for 15 points. I think it would hit. This year he hit 17, he hit 12. But again, look at this. They give up. He's been playing the 4 for them. Even when he plays the 3, they give up 26 and 29 points a game to forwards. So I think that's one that we're really going to try to put something together for, is to get him over 15. Let's see. You can get Jalen Johnson 15. You can get DeJounte 20, and it's double your money. You could even take DeJounte down to 18, and you're still at like minus 120. So that's probably going to be our best 2 bets for this game. We're going to have that in our boost play on our boosted play on why can I not talk right now? Our boosted play on FanDuel. Works kind of got me dead today. And why won't this go off the screen here? There we go. Got it. Let's go to the Houston game. Houston versus Detroit. Now, obviously, the big thing I'm looking at here is a lot of money is on the under here, but a big one I want to show you guys that is really interesting to me is, so one app has most of the money on Outlier here, has most of the money on Houston to cover the spread, but over on Action Network, we have most of Sharp Action, 60% of the money, and have the ratings at, it should be closer to a +5. Now, obviously, this might be one you could take it in a teaser if you really trust this team. I don't see a lot of money in a lot of the bets. Everyone's kind of in favor of the under here. From where it started to now, I think let's see. When the line opened up, the line was at 11:30 today. Line was at 226. It has went it was at 229, and it has went from 229 to 226.5 in the matter of, from 227 actually 226.5 in a matter of about 15 minutes. So I think the more money's going on it, the lower it's going, which kind of insinuates that I think they think it's going to be an under here. So I think this is actually a solid play. They've went over a lot, but if you notice, a lot of their teams in the last couple games, this was a Denver game where Denver just couldn't miss a shot. You have Sacramento, who's one of the fastest paced teams. San Antonio, that doesn't play defense in their fast pace. Golden State's been playing at an up pace, and they went under. Utah plays at an incredible pace, and this game went to overtime. The last time they played Houston, they gave up 136. The way Houston has been the last couple of games, I don't see them getting 136. They've only, in their last, since that game, they've went over 113 once, which means if you're taking the over here, that means you're hoping for 113 to 113. I think this is a great spot for them coming off a road trip with, let's see, who does Houston have next? With the Celtics coming up tomorrow, I think this is a good spot for them to slow down, maybe put their rotation in. So I think we're going to rock with the under here. Again, this could be a teaser play. If you want to get an extra safety, you could take it to 230 on a teaser. And we already went over our play here. I do like Duren's rebound line because they do tend to give up a lot of rebounds to centers from the last I looked, unless the stat is updated. As we look here, he gave up about 11.5 a game, but head-to-head, he had 14 in their last matchup a couple of days ago against this guy, against Şengün. So we already went over our Sacramento-Philly play. I think this line is just too close. I don't see Philly winning this game. I think this is a good spot for Sacramento to finish their road trip with a big win here. But I just wouldn't touch any of this. We already have our play of the day in that game, so we're going to stay with that one. Clippers, Memphis. Now, this is a game I'm very interested in because obviously the money line's not going to be in play unless you want to take it with, instead of taking the spread here, you could take these two to win, and you're looking at minus 115, which isn't that bad. So I think that's in the table. I think that's in the realm of possibilities to hit. So I think that's one to hit here. Looking at the public money, everyone's on this Clippers team. They're very good this year. This might be a Clippers. This might end up being a Clippers fan account at this point. Ever since their kind of 4 or 5, they had that couple game road trip where they just were struggling against New York and Brooklyn. Since then, they've kind of been back and forth on the cover. But the big thing I'm looking at here is, as a favorite, they have been iffy to cover versus a Memphis team at home that has covered just about an 8.5 spread just about every game, because when they are playing at home, unless teams are playing fast paced, they are keeping up with them. If you look, they missed the spread here with Ja Morant against a fast paced team. Fast paced team with Morant, they held in. So, we could almost take it after that New Orleans game when he came back. If we even look before then, you have a slow paced team, they cover. A team that is streaky, they cover. Slow paced team right here. They just missed the cover there. I think the cover might be a little bit too far off. And this offense is something I don't trust. A lot of the money is on the under here. The line opened at 227. It dropped all the way to 224. Is this because, let's see, their home Memphis has been a great under, it looks like. We see they missed they went to 227, 204, 215, 219, 199. So they haven't they even went over 220 outside of their last game. They didn't hit 220 for 5 straight home games against a team that again, I think the Clippers have another more important game coming up right after. They have the Timberwolves on Sunday at Minnesota, so I think the under might be in play here. I'm going to watch this line move. I want to see what they do. But as for now, I'm not taking anything here. The only thing I would take that you could really look at is like a parlay for Paul George, Harden, and Kawhi. I'm probably going to put one together later tonight. But no player props I really liked yet from this game. We got Portland, Minnesota. I don't know if anyone is going to take them to cover after last night. If you didn't watch last night, my favorite team, my OKC Thunder, they won by 62 points. It was 72 to 134. That is, good God. Will Chauncey Billups get fired? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's his fault, but I think he's going to be the scapegoat in this, and he's going to get fired. But a lot of money is on the under here. Now, if you can see, look at the score. 77-139 was actually the final score. They still hit the under, and they gave up 140 points, and they still hit the under by 20 points. They have not scored more. Their last 2 games, they have not had more than 84 points. Outside of look at this. They've been on a 6-game. This is game 7 of their road trip. Outside of this Brooklyn game, they have not scored more than 103. They have not scored 100 in that many games. I'm actually curious to see what their team line is at. Their team line is around 102. I don't think this is a spot for them to kind of make that comeback. As you can see, look, they're on the road this year. They have kind of hovered around this line, but the big thing here is you could tell, look, since they're let's take off the filter right here. So let's look here. Since their last game against San Antonio, where they lost by, they scored 134. You have 88 points against Phoenix, 97 against Dallas, 103 against Dallas, 134, 84, 77. I think this is a team on the regression. Again, I don't trust that team line. I don't trust Minnesota to not put up 130. But so I think we'll stay away from that. I want to watch that line. We might do a custom bet on the under. I think that's something that we could easily do for team total. But as you saw, most of this money is on them. Even both sites even have majority of the money on Minnesota to just absolutely dominate the spread and absolutely dominate the under here. I just think personally a lot of sharp money though, and is on Portland to cover the spread. They said the spread should be a lot more around 8. Nothing really on the money line, and I think it's something to watch. The spread has went down about 0.5 point while most of the bets are up. So I think that is kind of a sign. You know what? We'll take it. We'll take it as a lean. We'll put 0.5 unit on it. I think it's something they could cover because mainly if you look here this season, when Minnesota has been a favorite by double digits, look, couldn't cover. So they've only covered one game as a 10-point favorite this season out of the 4 that they've been able to, versus Portland, who as a 10 or more underdog, you have, let's see, 0 for 2, 0 for 3, 0 for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, and 5. You have about an even number, 6, but they've had more of these games. As you can see, look, as a 15-point underdog, they've covered that 76% of the time, a 15-point game. So when they have been losing, outside of these 2 games, look, there was a huge streak here. The big thing I'm looking at here, Ayton might not play. Brogdon might not play because of trade rumors, rest. Moses Brown's out. Shaden Sharp. So I want to see what happens with some of these injury reports to wait. But if nothing else, once it gets about 7:30, then place the bet, see if the line, if it's anything below 13 or 14 on the dot, if it's 13.5 or lower, I wouldn't touch it. But if it stays around 15.5, I'm taking it. Golden State, Chicago, I just don't have anything here. Oh, and this, you can take Gobert double. If the odds are too low, then you can just take, what's the odds at? 200. You could take that with Minnesota to win, and I think that would be like probably like minus 150, minus 160. That's the only thing I would take there. Chicago, Golden State, I'm passing on this game. I just don't really trust this Warriors team, how they're playing. I think Trace Jackson Davis's point line or his point rebound line is usually a solid look, but I'm just not touching anything in this game. We don't really have any insight of what's going to happen with if Vucevic is starting, if Drummond's starting, who's getting majority of the minutes, what's going to happen there. Orlando, Miami, I've seen a lot on Orlando here. I'm actually looking at the money for that one right now. Majority of the people on the spread have Magic covering. They have Magic to win. And they even have the over in this game at 219. They have the over on. I think that's something, but I just never trust this Magic team the way they've been playing. They've been a cover machine. as let me see what the reports are saying. Most of the sharps have them covering the spread. A lot of sharp money's on the under, and big and God, why does this keep moving on me? This thing just does not want to work with me right when I need it to work with me. That's so fun. A lot of sharp money is on the over. The over is getting 99% of the money. I think a lot of people are expecting more scoring. But I think 130 for a money line in a game where they're getting 98% of the money, and it has not moved. The only thing that has moved, it stayed at 130 is the best odds available. The best odds for Miami to win went from minus 155 to minus 122. I just don't see any way that they're going to win this game. I think, we'll take the +2 and put it with a teaser, and then we'll take the money line. So I think we'll tease the +2 with the under in the Pistons game. I don't have anything for these two games. I've been seeing some insight on this one, but not enough that I feel confident, but I will bring these up to you. The one play I do love here, we're going to be dogging it today. I'm taking Charlotte money line. LaMelo's back. Wemby and this team have just been riddled with injuries. Now, they've said he's going to play. He's expected to play. I don't know how many minutes he's going to get. But this is one we're leaning on. We're going to see how it moves a little bit closer to. I'm willing to take the risk of it going to minuses instead of plus money. But I think this is one I kind of like it. I think this is a good spot for Charlotte. With they don't really have anything to lose with LaMelo and Terry Rozier in. It won't let me show it on this, but I'm going to pull it up on with LaMelo and Terry in. They have won 2 of 6. But the thing is in their last 10, they've won 6 of 10. So they finished last year winning 4 straight games with both LaMelo and Terry in. Of those 4 games, you had Miami, Minnesota, Atlanta, and Detroit. So I think this is a good matchup, especially with the way that they're kind of giving up points to point guards. You can see the Spurs give up the most points to point guards and the 6th most to shooting guards. So, and Miles Bridges alone has been fairly dominant, I would say, at the very least. They give up about 20 a game to power forwards. I don't think we're obviously not going to see Wemby on him because they're going to be keeping. I think Sochan is going to be on him more than likely, but I think Charlotte could take this one. So we're going to add Charlotte money line to this. That's going to be our best bets coming up after the break. We're going to go into a little bit of insight of what to expect this weekend, how to bet it, and give you guys a preview of what our video is going to be on tomorrow for Wild Card Weekend, Saturday and Sunday. All that is going to be coming up after the break.
For frequency's sake, has you covered on all things sports. From the squared circle to the hardwood and the gridiron to the speedway, we've got something for everyone. Walk down the aisle with the boys from Cards Subject to Change every Sunday as they take a deep dive into everything pro wrestling. Need your gambling fix? We've got you there. Enter Pit Row with Rod Villagomez and Fast Money as we win the checkered flag with NASCAR, Xfinity, and truck race winners and props. Football more your style? Explore the waters of NFL DFS with DFS Deep Dive with Brian Craighead and Jordan Kernan each week. More into the science portion of the game? We've got a double dose of action there. The Professor John Bush and Dennis Michelson take you into their science lab and dissect your week in the data lab. Want an analytical take? Nick Gurl and the team at Gridiron AI come to you each week with The Lab. Need to know who to start last minute? The network's flagship show, For Fantasy's Sake, is here in a pinch. The fellas come to you live every football Sunday from 10 to 11:30 Central with the week's best DFS, gambling, and lineup advice. And wrap up your Sundays with Joe Winkle and Nick Brinks as they come to you live with educated ignorance, looking at all the day's action. Can't get enough of Joe? He comes to you 3 times a week. Not enough football on Sunday? Not a problem. Kick your feet up at lunch on Monday and slip on into the Football Lounge with Mark and Dan while they look at the week that was in news, notes, and more. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
Alrighty, welcome back. Let's look at some consensus kind of plays based on the weather, and whatever the pros are expecting in terms of public bets and projections and everything. So the first one we're going to look at is obviously going to be game 1. We're going to be looking at Cleveland versus Houston here in Houston. So obviously, first thing we're looking at here is the weather for this game is non-existent. It is a dome game. There's nothing we could really do about that one. The first thing we're going to look at here, the spread. The money has not. It's interesting to see that the money has moved towards all the bets have moved towards Cleveland covering a 2-point spread, but the spread has went from 1.5 to 2 since most of that money's in. There's not much of a difference here. The over. I don't know about this over, but I think a lot of people are. I don't know how we feel. They obviously decimated the Texans' defense, and I think they could do it again, but we have to see really how the Texans are going to handle in a playoff atmosphere, a playoff Myles Garrett. That is something to be very cautious of and to watch. And obviously, moneyline, everyone's favoring Texas here. You can even see that but the big thing I'm looking at here is going to be a lot of the top experts and a lot of sharps are on Texans to win or to cover the spread. A lot of money again is on the over, and a lot of sharps are on the over here. So I think that is one that we're really going to kind of look at. The projections for these, you have the line's right about where it needs to be. The total, they kind of have it a little bit lower than it should be, and the money line is fairly on the dot in terms of odds projections. So that is obviously going to be a big one. I think we're going to pass on that. That might be a player prop game. So that's going to be one to watch. I think that's what the best one to do. So now let's look at this Dolphins-Chiefs game, what to look forward to. So we're seeing at game time, we're getting a -2 temperature. A -3 is going to drop down to -4. By the time the game will end, it'll be between -4 and -5. The wind isn't going to be blowing, I would say, as much as everyone was expecting. There's not much of a chance of precipitation, about 14-mile-an-hour wind. The big thing is it's snowing right now in the Midwest. This is going to be able to affect this game. One, the Dolphins game the Dolphins have struggled. But 2, you also have a Samoan quarterback that lives in Miami having to go to Kansas City and play in -4 weather. I don't see any way that this game is going to have a lot of overs. I don't even know what these player props are at. I kind of want to see real quick. I'm going to check it. What's Tua's passing yard prop? 225 or 230 is what he's at, and he's hit that in just about every game this year. But I don't see that happening. There's no way. Especially when in a dome he only got 193 against his team. I think this is going to be a game that ball is not going to fly. It's going to be a very hard ball to catch. And as we can see here, most of the bets are on the Chiefs, but a lot of people are expecting the Dolphins to keep this closer than 4.5. All of this money, I caught this at 44.5. I would take this now and do not wait till tomorrow. This line is only going to drop more and more as we go. 95,000 bets are on this game, and 91% of them are on the Dolphins under. I'm going to run that number real quick for you guys. If I remembered how to use a calculator. 86,000 people bet the under, and it still went down. And it went down heavily. 2.5 points is kind of big in a game between two high-scoring offenses. I'm taking the under here. I'm not touching money lines. I'm not touching anything else. I'm just taking the under in this game. I just want everyone to not die on the field. That's all I'm really asking for this game. I don't want to see anything like that. That's our Saturday games. Sunday. The big one is going to be the 1:00 game. Steelers Bills is going to have snow. You can see here flurries, 21 degrees, 24-mile-an-hour winds going north-northwest, which is going to definitely affect the ball a lot. But this is a Steelers team that they lost TJ Watt for this round. I think this is a big James Cook game. As we can see here, a lot of money obviously is on them to win. We have a lot more money on the under, but this is how big of a change this is. The spread went from 43 to 35 in a week. And this line has stayed the same, but majority of the money is on Steelers to keep this close. I think it's because of that. I think the best play you could look at right now is to watch James Cook's running prop, because they have been running the ball a lot more with him lately. I don't think this is a game to trust, and especially Gabe Davis is out, so that is one to look forward to. Cook's line's at 64.5. You could take him for 50 and put it with like Pacheco for 50 yards. And get a good probably plus money or like minus like 150 play. I don't know what that's at. I'm actually going to check that right now. That's going to be probably our first parlay of the weekend that we're going to post in later tonight. Let's break that down really fast. Pacheco 50 rushing yards. And the thing with this one that makes it make it hard is because these teams are going to be expecting the run. I think it makes it hard, but you can get this at double your money odds. It's a little bit under, but I would take it right there at double your money, if anything. So that's what we're gonna lock in, honestly, if anything, for that game. Packers Cowboys. I don't want to touch this. I just want to enjoy the Cowboys like smacking the Packers. I think a lot of people are expecting the Packers to kind of give the Cowboys some work, but the Packers have an abysmal passing defense. They seem to get decimated. I'm gonna show you guys the stat right here once I get it pulled up. So I'm just gonna click the first thing on Dak Prescott's passing yards. Passing defense hasn't been bad. Was it them or is it their rushing defense that's bad? Yeah, they're right. They give up 128 rushing yards. I think with them playing in the dome, the weather isn't going to affect it as much. And a lot of people are expecting a high scoring game, as you can see, as 82% of it has went up. That has went up as well. As well as a lot of big money is on Packers to win. I think a lot is actually on the under in terms of sharps. But this is one definitely to watch out for. I think this is a game that I think this is going to be a very high scoring game, but it's more how is Jordan Love going to handle this top tier defense. And the last one we'll go over because we'll go over the Monday game on Monday. But I do like Tampa in that one. If you want to get a quick early bet in, I do like Tampa there. Rams Lions, a lot of people are on the Rams here. The fact that 90% of the money is on this team and it's only went down a point is kind of wild. I think they might know something, but I still like the Rams here. I think Dan Campbell's offense is amazing. You could definitely take the over here as a play. I think that's definitely a valid point. A lot of people are taking the under in this game, which is interesting to me. They're getting a 27% difference. Obviously, it's not the majority of the bets, but 22% of the people that are betting the under has about the money split 50-50, which is something to really watch out for. But a lot of people are projecting this to be the upset of the weekend is the Rams over the Lions. Mine is, I think the Buccaneers take care of the Eagles here. I wouldn't even be surprised by a Texans win, but that one would be more of an expected one. So that's what we have. That is our best plays for tonight. That is our best plays for this weekend, kind of a preview of what to expect, what to look forward to in terms of, we have a lot of dome games on this weekend. So weather has not been a factor, but the games with the weather are a factor. It's a huge factor. It's going to be possibly one of the coldest games in NFL. It's going to be one of the coldest games in NFL history, a game where there's going to be snow and 20-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to be an ugly, messy weekend of football. I'm excited for it. But these are our best bets for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you guys for tuning in with me. We're going to have a video breakdown posted on YouTube tomorrow and Sunday with the best bets for Saturday and Sunday's football games. Make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys check out our TikTok page, as on TikTok, we are posting a play of the day on the For Frequency's Sake TikTok page every single day for the NBA. We are 3-0. We hit Jalen Duren double-double. We hit Jalen Duren, Trae Young double-double, and we hit Isaiah Hartenstein over 10.5 rebounds. All right, you guys already heard our play of the day. It's going to be Sabonis over 12.5 rebounds, but we are going to have a parlay for tonight that I absolutely love. And we're going to try to get a couple. We're going to start posting there more consistently, start posting on Instagram and Facebook more consistently. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a great weekend of football. Hope you guys all have a great weekend, and let's win some money.